have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. When you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable.
I think it's really interesting how the Democrats disrespect anybody who doesn't want to vote for Kamala. They'll say that you're ignorant and try to shame you into voting for them.
Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women.
Can we just come to the realization we don't like Kamala? We're not with her. She's not relatable. She's fake as, like, we want somebody real, somebody who's going to help the economy, not somebody who puts immigration first. That's not a priority. Americans should be first. We have our own issues going on here. Why are you opening the border to a bunch of people to come over here when there's American citizens that need help? I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me.
This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already. And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points. That is about half the margin that Obama won them by back in November of 2012. And this, I think, is, you know, when Barack Obama goes in last week when he was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, essentially talking to young black men, he made it seem like it was a Kamala Harris specific problem. This is part of a long-standing trend of young black men moving away from the Democratic Party, and Kamala Harris is just the latest to face that magnitude of younger black men going towards the Republicans.
That was most interesting here is the trend line and where some of the biggest drops happened or already happened in this.
We're looking once again at younger black men. It looks like the worst Democratic performance since 1960, since JFK versus Richard Nixon. It's the same thing among black men overall. Again, part of a similar trend, but here actually the drop-off isn't as dramatic, right? Barack Obama won him by 85, then you see 71 with Clinton, 69, Biden, basically the same thing, holding steady. But here, again, very, very weak, only a 54-point margin. The bottom line is Kamala Harris with younger black men and then black men overall putting in historically weak performance for a Democratic candidate.
Is she getting any relief with black women?
All right. So, you know, we're talking about the trend line, right? And black women, look, she's doing better with black women than she is doing among black men. But here, there isn't a trend line almost until we get to Kamala Harris. So again, this is a black margin among black women. Look, Obama won him by 93, very large margin. Clinton won him by 93, a very large margin. Biden did a little bit worse at 85. But then you look here, and you get a 71-point margin. Now, again, these are large margins, but the bottom line is when you're talking about the base of the Democratic Party, you would think that Kamala Harris would do very well among black women based upon history, and of course she would be the first black woman president, but she's actually doing the worst for a Democratic candidate among black women since 1960.
So as you can see, the polls show Kamala being down in the polls with black men. Like, the numbers are tanking. She's doing worse than any Democrat since like 19, I don't know what they say, 60 or something. She's doing horribly. Then what do? They bring out all their stops. They got Obama out there trying to act like somebody's daddy and tell them what all black men what they need to do. What? Who is you to tell anybody what to do, sir? You used to go sit back and go back where you was at, because no, you're not finna tell nobody what to do. That's disrespectful. Like, men can't make their own decisions on who they want to vote for. I hate that. And they make it seem like as a mixed or black person or any minority or person of color that you're obligated to vote Democrat. That's not true.
Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Many months later.
I want to ask you about your plan for black men.
So all of a sudden, Kamala realizes she's doing bad. She's polling horribly with black men, and so she's deciding to buy your votes.
Talk to me about this
Yes.
plan, just in summary, and how this will impact not only black men, but all black people.
Sure. So my plan is to build what I call an opportunity economy, which means giving people an opportunity to actually achieve those ambitions, those goals, and those dreams. So, for example, housing is too expensive. The American dream is something that previous generations could kind of count on, but no more. So, one part of the problem is that we have a supply issue in terms of housing supply. My plan includes working with developers to do and home builders, to create incentives for them to build 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. The second part, which is equally important, if not more, is to give people, first-time home buyers, a $25,000 down payment assistance. Because what you and I know is a lot of folks want to be a homeowner, but they don't come from money. They don't come from some families that can necessarily give them or pass on a home or give them the equity out of their home to help them with the down payment. $25,000 down payment assistance just helps people get their foot in the door to then save up to cover a mortgage. $6,000 child tax credit. I'm expanding the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families so that in the first year of their child's life they have the resources they need to buy a crib, a car seat, clothes, knowing that all parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not all parents have the resources to be able to do that. Opportunity. You know, I think there is a real misconception that people just, and only their highest aspiration is to have a job. That's not where I come from in terms of how I think of it. The baseline should be everybody has a job. What we should be doing is creating incentives for people to be able to build wealth and build intergenerational wealth. But again, knowing that not everybody starts out on the same base, but when you give them a little bit to just compete, they will work around the clock, good ideas, innovative ideas, and when they have just that little bit extra, it gives them what they need to actually get in there, compete, and thrive. That's the $20,000. That's the theory behind the $20,000 forgivable loan for people at a certain threshold, to just give them the resources, like I said, to start up a website, to buy the equipment they need depending on the kind of business that they're creating, so that that's not the barrier to what otherwise is going to be their incredible work ethic and hustle to actually make a success out of their smart idea that actually has relevance to the community.
So about 3 weeks into the election, and she wants to start trying to do something for black men so she can buy their vote. It's crazy to think that she's really just going to do something for black men because she cares, right? Because she cares. She didn't do anything until she's seen how bad she was doing, and then all of a sudden she's like, here, please, I'll give you 20,000, vote for me. Not going to work. It's just ridiculous that anybody would vote for her based on her giving $20,000 to them, supposedly. But you're the last on the list. 3 weeks to the election, she sees how bad she's doing, and then all of a sudden she wants to be like, oh, here, I'll throw some money at you, when she already been throwing money to the illegals. She made illegals legal. She basically, a lot of the reasons why Americans are in the bad shape that they are in today is because of all the things she's done. And now she wants to be like, here's some crumbs, here, take that. And then if you are supposed to be giving $20,000 to black men, right? Okay, what about, the others, the them, the theys, all that stuff? Like, what do they get? Everybody's going to want something. Why can't you just do something for the American people? So we can come together as a whole. What's good for the American people is good for the economy, is good for everybody. Why does one group have to get this and one group have to? It's all the Democrats do spend time trying to separate people. They want to put everybody in a box. Why can't we just all be Americans? Why can't we come together and be like, we all need help? Why are you giving crumbs to this group? And then the other group's going to feel like they're left out. Like, we all need help, but you're over here helping the immigrants. You're making these illegal aliens legal. Like, what are we doing? Y'all gonna have to get off that Democrat plantation. I'm telling you, get off. It's okay. It's cool over here. In other words, even if she does give you $20,000 and the economy continues to go bad and inflation goes up, what is that $20,000 finna do? Nothing. That's gonna be gone so quick. It's not making sense. The math ain't mathing. She's trying to act like she's helping somebody, but she's not. All she's doing is hurting and separating and making other people feel marginalized and not bringing American people together. This is crazy, but we're better than this. And I know y'all smart out there, so just stay strong. Don't take the little trap. Don't take it. Don't take the little crumbs. It's a trap.